Iconic video game weapons. You should know a few of them if you play games. I know a few. There's the gum gun from Wuppo, the legendary spear from Rain World, and of course, Shovel Knight's shovel. Each of these weapons is really important for each game. I mean, who can forget the time where Scallywag just decides to challenge a snail to a race, and the snail starts to outpace him, but he has his gum gun, so he starts shooting yellow blocks, and then he manages to win if you're fast enough. It's so exciting. But the truth is, as famous as these weapons are, two of them could be removed without breaking the core gameplay. One is, sadly, Wuppo's gum gun. It isn't used for much, only boss fights, and there aren't too many of them. So as long as the replacement weapon could shoot projectiles, Scallywag would be just fine. Maybe he could use some spears. And Slug Cat from Rain World only needs the spears to climb up a few spots, so if those spots were changed just a little bit, spears wouldn't be needed there either. And maybe Slug Cat could have a rifle for defense. I don't know, anything's possible. And that leaves the most important video game weapon left, the shovel. One reason the shovel is so important is because if it was taken out, that would break the game's fundamental structure. And the shovel isn't just a weapon, it's a foundation that all of Shovel Knight was built on top of. Digging, shoveling, dirt, these are the ideas that make Shovel Knight what it is. And this is why I'm here. I'm here to tell you the truth about Shovel Knight's shovel. Okay, I'll get to the point. The truth is, the shovel is important. That's it. Pretty simple. But how it's important, that's what's interesting. Technically speaking, carrying a shovel around everywhere is kind of ridiculous. But when has that ever stopped video games? Games have no boundaries. The mundane and the ridiculous will often crash together and form something special. And in Shovel Knight's case, the shovel is definitely one of those special things. It ended up becoming an idea that was so important it shaped an entire game. But before I get into the story and the levels and the meaning of it all, I want to take 1 second to appreciate how the shovel shaped the player character, Shovel Knight. He's blue, his helmet has horns, and... aw man, I had so much to say. Now what? I guess I'll talk about the dirt. The first object you come across is a dirt mound. Yeah, it's not that interesting. But when you learn that all the dirt mounds are filled with diamonds and rubies, well, I don't know of a better way to get players to dig. Another object you can dig are dirt blocks. Although, actually you can't dig them because they break. But it's a good thing that they break because if you had to dig every single one, that would take a really long time. So I'm glad you break them instead. There sure are a lot of dirt blocks. So many. Why are they here? How did they get here? Dirt Fairy. Case closed. Mystery solved. I figured it out. Right. All shovel-y so far. The way the shovel mixes with story and gameplay reminds me of Celeste. Because in Celeste, all of the levels and even a bit of the story mix together with the special ability, a dash. If the dash was removed, Celeste wouldn't work, just like Shovel Knight. But so far I've only mentioned dirt blocks, dirt mounds, and... what does bouncing have to do with shovels anyway? That's not how they're supposed to work. Whatever, there's way more shovel details. Like the exploding walls. That's kinda like digging. Or the story. Yeah, you see? Shovel Knight is using his shovel to grow a farm. You couldn't do that with anything else but a shovel. Or, that doesn't seem right. Wait a second, attacking enemies like this, you could just use a sword, I don't get it. Oh, the shovel icon for the main menu. Look, it's a little shovel. And the words that pop up before the start of each level. Those are shovel related. You know, it's almost like the shovel isn't important. The actual truth is that the shovel doesn't prop up the game or much of anything. Replace it with a different item and not much would need to change. Maybe the 2 dirt blocks would seem out of place, but even then they might seem fine. So the shovel is actually a red herring. Shovel Knight isn't about shoveling, it's about marketing. So since the shovel is a red herring, what's the actual important part of Shovel Knight? Maybe all it is a retro-styled platformer, but there's more to it than that. If we narrow things down a bit, what Shovel Knight is a well-made platformer with some dirt. That's a start. Although there's not even that much dirt for the shovel to dig. And honestly, the game would work fine without a shovel. Just look at this. Same levels, same dirt, different character, different story. And the main difference? Plague Knight doesn't have a shovel. He has bombs. Still, there's dirt everywhere, so having a shovel makes the most sense, right? Not really. Explosions blow up dirt, and they work really well. Don't get me wrong, explosions are way messier than shovels ever would be. But they still fit the idea of digging up some dirt. Just like that, the shovel is replaced with bombs. And Shovel Knight remains pretty much unchanged. Again, even the levels are the same. Although playing them feels different because of the bomb bounce. All you need to do is bomb bounce. Bomb bounce here, bomb bounce there, bomb bounce anywhere. Bombs are definitely different from the shovel, but they do have a bit more in common than you might think. Both the shovel and bombs are able to bounce each knight up in the air, and they can both take care of dirt just fine. So Plague Knight can bounce around and move dirt, just like Shovel Knight. Although, bombs aren't the only way to replace a shovel. Meet the Scythe and Spectre Knight. He doesn't have bombs or shovels. What he does have is a scythe. Not the most efficient way to dig, but hey, the shovel's gone. And another inefficient thing about Spectre Knight is that he can't attack downwards. So how does he break the dirt blocks underneath him? With his feet, obviously. Yeah, this definitely makes way less sense than it should, but it works, and the shovel got replaced by a scythe and his feet. So, that happened. By the way, I can't put my finger on it, but I should mention that Spectre Knight's abilities are different from the rest of the characters. All the rest of them, except Spectre, have their signature move launch them in the air. Spectre can't do that. Everyone can bounce, except for him. But don't worry, the developers fixed these differences with the last playable knight, King Knight. He has all new levels, and those levels come with a lot of dirt. I didn't count all of it, but it seems like King Knight's levels might have even more dirt than Shovel Knight himself. And with great amounts of dirt comes great dirt digging abilities. Like the spin, and a dash, and a somersault, and a whole bunch of other stuff. King Knight's spin is a whole lot like Shovel Knight's downward thrust, because when his spin hits an object, he bounces up just like the shovel. It's really similar. Man, there sure is a lot of bouncing. Now, spinning fast enough to become a drill isn't as realistic as using a shovel or bombs, but I love it. And in some levels, drilling through dirt actually happens. So this fits in perfectly fine with the rest of Shovel Knight's mythos. Again, no one needs a shovel. You could just spin around. So the only shovel-related things the shovel does is dig dirt blocks and dirt mounds. All the other characters have a different way of replacing the shovel. Plague Knight uses his bombs to bounce around and blow up dirt. Spectre Knight uses his feet to dig. No, that doesn't make any sense at all. Hold on. What? Oh. I guess he's trying to be a chicken. Well, that's okay. It's not a shovel. And finally, King Knight. Like I was saying, he's a drill, and he bounces like a ballerina. Now that I've gone through all the characters, this brings up what's important in Shovel Knight. At first, I thought it must have been the shovel. That's the name of the game, after all. Then I thought it must have been the dirt. But after thinking about that for a few minutes, I figured out what's truly important. It's the bouncing. So much bouncing. The important part isn't the shoveling, and not even the digging. It's the bounciness. Most games aren't tied to one special ability, and neither is Shovel Knight. It's tied to bouncing. So in conclusion, I propose that Shovel Knight gets renamed to Bouncing Knight. Oh, that name's already taken. Never mind.